Hey everybody, Adrian with the Northwoods family coming at you from my garage, and today we're going to be talking about the new Garmin Tread GPS unit. Now, I was looking for a GPS unit for our new Polaris General side-by-side. We weren't able to get an XP edition, so it didn't come with Polaris Ride Command. So, I'm in a position where, do I spend the money, a lot of money, on a Ride Command system, or do I look for something else that's going to do the job? So, I scoured the internet, and the Garmin Tread is pretty new, so there's really no information out there. So unfortunately, this is going to be one of those times where I'm going to be the guinea pig. I decided to pull the trigger and pick one up, and now I'm going to tell you what I found out about it so far. Some of the things I like, and honestly, some of the things I don't like so much. Now, I've had this unit only about 2 weeks, so take everything with a grain of salt. I haven't had a ton of time to fully dive into all the features that come with this unit, but I'm starting to get an idea of what its capabilities are, and I'm going to share those with you now. That said, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because in a few more weeks or another month or so, after I've had more time with this unit and I've been able to take it on a few more rides, I'm going to follow up with this video and give you a little bit more in-depth review and tell you what I really think about it. So, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you got any questions, leave the comments below. We appreciate the support. Garmin Tread coming up next. All right, so first of all, what is included in the Garmin Tread box? Okay, well, you're going to get your screen here. It's about a 5.5 inch screen. It's waterproof. It's GPX 6, 7 rated, I believe. So it is rated for shocks and drops. It is rated, I believe the 7 waterproof rating means that you can submerge it up to a meter for short periods of time, things like that. You're not going to want to drop it at the bottom of the lake or pressure wash it or things like that, but it's waterproof. You can get it wet. It's not going to be a big deal. Nice touch screen. It comes with a mounting kit. It comes with your wiring harness. It comes with the antenna and a radio mic. A couple things it doesn't come with. It does not come, Garmin advertises that you can control a bunch of lighting systems that you hook up to it through here. It does not come with that system, so that's an additional cost. It also does not come with any cameras. That said, we decided to be the guinea pig again. I picked up the camera, one of the cameras, just to test them out, so that we have as well. I did not pick up the system that controls the lights. I forgot the name of it. I'll throw it in the video right here. But yeah, so we picked up a camera just to try it out. Again, I figured if I was going to be the guinea pig, I was going to try to give you guys a little bit more. All right, so first thing first, installation. It's a GPS unit. It's pretty easy to install. You don't need to be technically minded or anything like that. It's, for the most part, plug and play. That said, there were a couple things I ran into in installation that I don't want to say was a deal breaker, but I wasn't really fond of. The first thing was I really wanted to mount it low on my dash, and it comes with a basic hose clamp with some rubber shims on it that allows you to mount it around your roll cage. That said, I have this Polaris lock and ride windshield, so when I tried to mount it up, it caused a situation where it affected the seal of my windshield, and I absolutely would have gotten water through the windshield. So right away, that was a non-starter. I moved the mount up to the top roll bar in front of the driver here. I mounted it on the left side, and because I'm a taller rider, I look through the top third of the windshield a lot. So up in that top left corner, it definitely was annoying, got in the way. I shifted it over to the right, and the center of my windshield is kind of obstructed by our windshield wiper and my mirror and things like that. So by moving it to the right, I got it out of the way. It's been fine up there. It hasn't bugged me. I feel it's a little bit close to my face, but not annoyingly so. I would like to have it lower on the dash, but because of the Polaris cage and the lock and ride windshield, it's just not going to work. So it'd be cool if somebody came up with a mount, maybe Garmin came up with a mount that fit these Polaris type cages. I don't think it would be that difficult, but so that's kind of one downside, I guess, of the mounting. So the next thing I had to mount was the antenna for the radio. Now the antenna for the radio also comes with a round hose clamp that'll fit on different roll bars. It's clearly meant to be mounted high. The antenna sits perpendicular to your roll bar, so I kind of wanted to mount it on, like, say where my C-pillar is on my roll cage. It was going to stick out a little bit, not that the antenna is very long, but it just wasn't going to work the best. So I decided to mount it up high. Because of where my roof sits, it forced me to mount it on the center crossbar instead of the far rear crossbar. Not a big deal. The roof, I have a plastic roof, so it shouldn't affect the reception at all. But I would imagine if you had a metal roof, that could potentially change things. So again, it didn't really give you a lot of options, which I'm a little disappointed about, but honestly, in the big scheme of things, kind of a minor deal. I think being able to mount the display where you want it is a little bit more important. I wasn't able to get my first choice, but I got a second choice here that works pretty good. All right, talking about the mount a little bit more, it has a adjustment, and it has two ball pivot points, so you can move it around, you can move it up and down. It has a pretty wide range of adjustment, and it clips in pretty quick. You can remove the screen very easily, so you can take it with you. Obviously, you don't want to leave this just sitting in your UTV, so you can pull it out, take it with you when you're done for the night. If you have to park your UTV outside at a campsite or something like that, not a big deal. So that's pretty nice. The wiring itself to connect to the battery, pretty straightforward, just one wire. For now, I just temporarily kind of clipped it to my A-pillar here. If I decide to keep the unit, I'll mount it up a little bit nicer. I'll probably run the wire through one of the pillars. And then it comes with the terminal rings to attach. It doesn't have any of the Polaris plug-and-play mounts, which I understand. This unit is designed to fit all sorts of different machines, so no big deal. It comes with everything you need to crimp them on. Super easy. It really was not a hard install. I mean, well less than an hour. I was fiddling around with it, trying to get the mounting system in the place where I wanted it, but honestly, you could probably have this thing set up in about 20 minutes. So install, pretty easy. Again, I wish there was more options for where to mount it, but not bad overall. All right, next, the camera. Same thing, the camera was super easy to install. It connects wirelessly or via Bluetooth. So a couple quick clicks on the screen here and it was good to go. There's also an app that connects to it. That was easy to download. It connected really quick, really easily, no problems. There was a software and map update right off the bat that I did, so you had to be connected to Wi-Fi. Wasn't a big deal. Downloaded pretty quick and updated things fairly seamlessly, really no problem. So overall install, pretty easy, not a big deal. Now the camera itself seems to be decent quality. I wouldn't call it high definition by any means. It's a backup camera. I don't know if you really need it on a UTV. I understand some people who are rock crawling and things like that, maybe they want some cameras in different places. Okay, I guess it's nice to have a backup camera at night and things like that. I need to remount mine a little bit higher so I can see better. The camera's okay. It seems to do the job. Nothing to rave about, but it seems to be a decent camera and it works all right. So the next thing I want to talk about is the mapping. Now, before I get into this, just remember what I want to use this for might be a little bit different than what you want to use it for. So some of the features, the pluses or the minuses that the Garmin Tread has, they may mean more to me and they may mean less to you, or vice versa. So just keep that in mind. Where you live and how you're going to ride is going to make a difference here. I'm going to just tell you what I was looking for and how this unit, applies to me. So here in Southwest Wisconsin, we have a lot of road routes that are designated ATV, UTV routes. So they're just normal roads. Normal motor vehicles can use them. There's nothing special about them, but the local municipalities, the counties, the townships allow UTVs to be driven on them. It's been really popular. It's really been exploding in the last 3 to 4 years here in Wisconsin. When I pulled up the Garmin maps, none of these motor vehicle roadways that are designated ATV routes are listed on the map. I was a little disappointed by that. Now, again, I understand they're always changing. That's tough to do. But when I log into the Polaris Ride Command app, they don't have all of them, but they have a lot of them. An impressive number of them here in Southwest Wisconsin. The next place I checked here locally for trail information was something called the Cheese Country Trail. Go figure, this is Wisconsin, right? In southern Wisconsin. That goes from Monroe all the way up to Mineral Point. It's a 70-something mile trail on an old railroad bed. It is the largest trail in southern Wisconsin. I should say it is the only off-road trail in southern Wisconsin. Definitely the largest, probably the only one in southern Wisconsin. It's a major trail and it sees a lot of UTV traffic. It was not anywhere to be found on the Garmin maps. That is kind of disappointing. Again, it's on the Polaris Ride Command app, but it's not on the Garmin Tread. The next thing I checked was the Black River Falls area. And if you're from the Midwest, if you've ever been up there, if you're from Wisconsin, you will recognize that Black River Falls is definitely one of the top off-roading places in the state of Wisconsin. Definitely one of the top 3 to 5 off-road destinations for UTVs, motorcycles, ATVs in the state of Wisconsin. It is a state forest, the Black River State Forest, I believe it's called, and then the Jackson County Forest. Really large area, something like 70,000 acres. There's hundreds of miles of trails up there. Legit area. Again, on the Garmin, none of those trails were on there. And I was pretty disappointed about that. That is something that I feel has really been overlooked. And I have to say, I'm kind of disappointed with the quality of the Garmin maps because of that. Again, Polaris Ride Command app, as far as I can tell, all those routes are up there. It looks very, very thorough. There's a lot of trails up there on the Polaris Ride Command app. So now I'm kind of in a position, I got to do some digging on the internet and see, is there some GPX trail maps from the Black River area that I can upload. Definitely an area where there's going to be spots where I'm not going to get cell reception. So if I want to use a GPS up there, I'm going to have to figure something out. The final thing I did is I started looking at the federal land. So in northern Wisconsin, that's going to be the Chequamegon, Nicolet National Forest. Another place I'm familiar with is the Black Hills of South Dakota, some spots in Wyoming. So I checked those areas out, and finally, there are some pretty extensive trail maps there. It seems like the National Forest, from what I've been able to tell, again, this is just an initial look, National Forest roads, off-road trails there up north in Wisconsin, out in the Black Hills of South Dakota are the two places I primarily looked. It seems to be that things are pretty well marked and it's a pretty extensive map. Now I know that Garmin spent a lot of time getting all of the National Forest National Forest motor vehicle use maps, which are great maps, by the way. If you're ever out in the National Forest, definitely stop at your ranger station, get some of those maps. I know that Garmin advertised those maps as specifically being loaded. Again, I compared that to the Polaris Ride Command app. Everything seemed to match up. It looked like there was a lot of information there for federal lands. So that's definitely a plus in my book. I think that'd be really cool. Garmin can probably give you turn-by-turn directions on those roads, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure if the Polaris Ride Command app can do that yet. I haven't played around with it enough. So definitely that is a win for the Garmin. Turn-by-turn directions on road routes with the Garmin works great. I've had a great experience. We went on a ride this last weekend, and it was about how far did we go? I think we went about 40 to 50 miles on our designated ATV routes, and the Garmin worked great. It was actually really nice to be able to navigate all of these roads, turn-by-turn directions without having to stop and consult with a paper map all the time to tell what was a ATV route or not. Now that said, the reason I was able to do that is because I had a paper map, I had a list of all the ATV routes, and I went in ahead of time and I pre-programmed my route onto the Garmin, basically waypoint by waypoint. And there are two ways that the Garmin will get you to those waypoints. It can direct you in a straight line, or if those roads are listed on the Garmin map, it will give you turn-by-turn directions like a normal GPS system would that you use in your car. So that was pretty cool. I was very happy with that. That said, you still need to have some type of map that shows the ATV routes or the roads you can take, and you have to go in turn by turn. The trip planning function on the Garmin works really good for me. I've had great experience with it. That said, there is one feature that I haven't quite figured out how to use yet, but I believe you can go in and you can adjust your route after the fact. The problem I found with it is that it doesn't allow you to zoom in close enough to actually read all of the road names that are on the map. And I think that's kind of a big bug. If I'm looking at one of the maps and the Garmin unit next to each other, I can compare the shape of the road, but I can't actually see the name of the road. The other thing is when you are in that trip planner section of the GPS, as I said, it works pretty well. However, as you are adding waypoints on the map, there are different ways to select the waypoints. You can show where you are, you can put in GPS coordinates, you can search for things. Generally, I browse and click on the map. The problem is, as you are doing that, as you are adding waypoints on the map, it doesn't show where you've previously added waypoints. If you go to the screen before, it gives you the list of them, but it doesn't show you on the map as you're doing it. So if you scroll around and you lose your place, it's really hard to pick up where you left off from. It's not very intuitive. And you could make a mistake, then you have to go back and correct it later, and it's a bit of a pain. So I think that interface could have been done a little bit better. So overall, trip planning, not bad, not as good as it could have been. It was really nice having turn-by-turn directions on the Garmin unit, but honestly, where I was riding that we did that, I could have done that with my phone pretty much just as easily. So the jury's still out on that. Overall, the mapping, I'm a little disappointed with. I think Garmin should have more details on their maps, and they should put a little more effort into getting UTV routes and off-road trails that aren't just at a federal level, aren't just at federal lands, into the GPS system. I hope that they start pushing out a lot of different map updates, and maybe there are some out there. Again, I've only had a couple weeks to play with this thing. I haven't had a lot of time to go on Garmin's website. Maybe there's some stuff out there that I haven't seen yet. But the mapping, I don't think the maps are quite where I would expect them to be for an $800 GPS unit. So just today, I started downloading the Birdseye maps, which basically allows you to get a satellite image on your GPS. Now, you have to be connected to Wi-Fi to download these. Fairly simple to download. There are some different options to give you various degrees of detail. I downloaded the least detailed areas because you can download them in up to, I want to say it says 78 miles. So I'm assuming that's probably square miles. So you get these squares all over the map and you kind of have to click and line them up. It's not bad, but it's a little bit of a pain. If you want to download more detailed sections, we're talking like you can only download 5 square miles at a time if you want to get really detailed. That said, for what I'm doing, I think the least detailed, the standard maps are going to work fine. Maybe people who are more interested in terrain features and things like that, they might want those more detailed maps. And honestly, downloading 5 square miles at a time, and then basically you have to go in a grid pattern. So download one map, download another, line them up. It's a bit of a pain. So where does that leave us with the Garmin Tread? Now remember, I've spent a whopping 2 weeks playing with this unit. There are probably a lot of things that I have not dived into yet. So take this with a grain of salt. Also remember what I'm using it for versus what you're using it for. I'm really not using the radio because I'm not riding with other people and I already have a radio. I'm not using the ride tracking with it because there's nobody else I know who has a Garmin Tread unit right now. I'm not using the lighting controls because I have a bunch of light switches. I just don't need to use that. So really what this is for me is this is a GPS unit that I can use when I don't have cell phone reception, that I want to be able to use when I'm driving on UTV routes, road routes, and when I am driving off-road. That said, there aren't UTV routes here in Wisconsin that are listed. I can totally overlook that because I realize that's a difficult thing to do. At least 2 major trail systems that are missing from the Garmin maps that I absolutely feel should be there, and I think Garmin dropped the ball on that. Major trail in southern Wisconsin and the Black River Falls area in kind of central Wisconsin, central western Wisconsin. One of the top UTV destinations in the state, not on the map. That's a big strike in my opinion. So I'm a little disappointed, a little underwhelmed by the system so far for an $800 GPS system. It's waterproof, shockproof. That's pretty cool. You know, a lot of GPS systems for your cars aren't going to do that, but I'm not blown away by it by any means. You know, sometimes you get a product and you're like, oh my God, this thing is so cool. I'm like, it's a decent GPS system. It'll give me turn-by-turn directions on my road routes. You know, if you're in national forest lands, I'm guessing, I haven't driven any national forest roadways yet, but I'm guessing it'll give you turn-by-turn directions on those. They're on the map. It gives turn-by-turn directions. I don't see why it wouldn't. So that might be kind of cool. But for me, so far, the jury's still out. I'm not super optimistic about it. I'm a little underwhelmed by it so far. That said, we're going to keep shaking it out. We're not going to give up on it yet. Plenty more tests, plenty more features and things to dive into on this unit. I haven't gotten to it all yet. This is just 2 weeks, initial impressions. Guys, don't write it off yet. There's still more time. And in fact, I tell you something else we're going to do. I decided to go ahead and order a Polaris Ride Command system. So we're going to get it installed in our General. And guess what we're going to do then? We're going to do a head-to-head comparison, little battle royale between the Polaris Ride Command system and the Garmin Tread. And we're going to tell you which one's better or which one does what things better and pros and cons of both of the systems. So if you don't want to miss that, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so when we get that video out here later on this year, you guys are going to see that. You know, I want to give it a fair amount of time. I want to give this a few more weeks, and then I got to start playing with the Polaris Ride Command. So, you know, same thing. I think we'll kind of do maybe an initial review, and then later this summer, yeah, we're going to do the head-to-head. Both of these units, a Ride Command and the Garmin Tread, are not cheap. So you want to make a good decision. Honestly, probably dumb what I did, just buying it right off the bat without having any type of reviews on it. But I thought, you know what, I'll be the guinea pig for once, and I'll do the review for you guys. So you don't want to miss that. Otherwise, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate the support. Guys, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button is super important to helping us build the channel, and we want to do that. If you guys have any experience with the Garmin Tread or other GPS units or Polaris Ride Command or anything related, put them in the comments below. I want to hear what you guys have experienced so far. It's going to help me test this, and it's going to help us shake things out so we can just provide better content for you guys. So, ride safe, be smart, and have a good time out there.